I don't care about being popular. I don't care about people hating on me, but I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm just going to come out and tell people.
Are you sure? Now, before you make this move, you got to be absolutely sure about what you're about to say.
Let me think about it. Yes, I'm sure what I want to say. Leave this boy alone. This boy Taylor Lautner, man. I know he ain't the greatest actor in the world, but
no, he's not.
But shit, man, people are just jumping on him like it's his fault that this movie's not good.
Well, he don't help.
He doesn't help it, but
he don't help. But I will say that when it comes to listing the bad things about this movie, he's not on this list alone. Matter of fact, if I did a top 10, I don't think he'd be above number 5.
Well, I'm just looking at him. This is a movie where it's one of those films where you just look at it and like, damn, this director's bored. I mean, you could just see him falling asleep behind the camera. The director here being John Singleton.
See, that was one of the things, me watching it, I'm going like, well, this is what you get when you get a first-time director or somebody who's used to directing TV shows. Oh, wait, this is John Singleton. What the hell's the matter with him? And it'd be different if it was like, well, all he ever did was Boys in the Hood. But it's like, no, last movie I remember for him was Four Brothers, which was an action movie and a good one.
A Shaft.
Yes, absolutely. No, when I think about Shaft, I'm like, dude, come on.
I mean,
you know how to do this right.
Now, I didn't see the movie, but I even heard, Too Fast, Too Furious, the second Fast and Furious movie he did, even that had his moments.
What's wrong with that movie is the script. It ain't Singleton's fault. What's wrong with that movie?
No, but looking at this, this has all the elements of a bad movie, script included. But damn, there's a time I wish I was on the set just to come up behind John Singleton and say, wake up!
Oh, I know.
Come on, man.
And in the editing room as well, that had some of the worst editing I've ever seen. Like, I don't always notice bad editing, but here, it just stuck out.
Man, I'm going to get into all this in a little bit. I want to talk about this movie a little bit first because this movie, Abduction, is one of the first Taylor Lautner vehicles that we have. I'm talking about Taylor Lautner in his present form, post Twilight.
I'm just laughing how you say it. This is one of the first, as if there's a guarantee of more to come.
Okay, well, this movie, if Dan Lautner, Taylor Lautner's dad, they have a production company.
Okay.
Taylor Made Productions.
That's a good name. Yeah, I gotta give him that.
You gotta give him that. All right, nothing else, But his father, Dan Lautner, is one of the producers on this movie.
Oh shit!
So you better believe old Dan's sitting there like, fuck all y'all. I got a production company. You ain't seen the last of my boy.
Okay, that's true.
He's coming. He's blowing up.
Have you seen my little boy? Well, here he is, and somebody needs to teach him how to act.
Now I'm going to defend Taylor Lautner here. I really will, because this is the kind of movie that is just so lackluster that you have big names in. I mean, damn, you got Sigourney Weaver, you got Alfred Molina. They are made to look bad in this film.
Yes.
There are parts in this movie. You talk about the editing, there are parts in this movie where somebody walked into the editing room and been like, man, you know what? I don't like Sigourney Weaver. Make her look like an amateur. Cut her shit to make her look bad. Man, she said something to me today I didn't like. Just mess her shit all up.
Yeah, maybe it was Dan Lautner, man. Maybe he tried to flirt with her and she said, "Excuse me." He said, "All right, let me see the script. I want her to say this now and this," and then she's out of the movie.
There's dialogue so bad in this movie that even talents like Miss Weaver cannot pull it off, man. It is really awful. So in this movie, you have Taylor Lautner. What's this boy's name in the movie, man? Nathan. Yeah, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan. I would say it louder, but my teeth are in the way. No, again, I'm gonna defend this boy. But Nathan, last year of high school, he's about to graduate. He's having fun out there with his friend and his other token black friend. And that's
like a Nickelodeon cartoon. You always have two friends, and one of them is a black nerd.
Yeah, one of them has to be not just black, but a black nerd. Yeah. And they're crazy. They're riding at high speeds on the hoods of cars. They're going to parties that parents don't know about and trashing the place. A typical teenager, except that when he gets caught by his dad. Now, normally, Leon, your dad and I might come home and just give us a stern talking to if they caught us. Nathan's dad, who's played in the movie about, what's that actor?
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs, playing an American here. Now, his dad comes home, gives him a stern talking to, and beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, you got to appreciate that. He's like, "Oh, you hungover? Okay, good. Put these boxing gloves on. So when I beat the shit out of you, it would only look like it was a fair competition."
Yeah. The authorities can't say, "I didn't give you a chance to defend yourself." But I'm about to beat the fuck out of you, boy.
It's funny because it starts, you go like, okay, this is a loving father who's kind of tough and just showing his boy. But it takes 2 seconds to go to like, nah, man, this is abusive.
This is.
What the hell?
Yeah, his father's like beating the fuck out of him. It's like, come on, all you got? That's all you got? And he's really literally beating the shit out of his son. Maria Bello plays the mom.
Yeah.
And she's in the house. Now, you're thinking maybe that she's an abused wife, but no, she's looking at this like it's like this is going on every week, and she's happy with it. She's like,
oh, Nathan, see what happens.
Yeah,
she's like, you shouldn't have been drinking. You might have had the edge.
Yeah, his father's like, I'm going to beat the fucking alcohol out of you right now. And, the mom's looking like, my boys.
Yeah.
By the way, our dads would have slapped the shit out of us. Maybe not as many times as this, but we would have got a beating too. But anyway, what you look at here is that there's something going on here. Why is this a normal routine for his dad? Because it looked like his dad is looking for any excuse to some sort of sparring match with his son. You don't know what's happening. Turns out that one day, Nathan he's studying with this hot girl that he has a crush on, Karen, played by Lily Collins. That girl's got like some of the biggest eyebrows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But
yeah. She's his Mary Jane who grew up next door across the street from him, always looked at and never said anything.
Never said anything. Just so happens, by coincidence, they get stuck on a class project. Well, like all teenagers do before they start studying. They're goofing around on the internet, doing some cruel shit too. They go to a website of missing kids, and this website shows what these missing kids would look like if they got older. What do? They sit there talking about, oh, this kid grew up to look like if you cross
Lindsay Lohan with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah. Just being mean, man. It's like, this kid might be dead.
Which, you're right. That is totally mean. And I gotta say, it's also one of the most awkward scenes in that movie. Cause like, as much as you want to defend Taylor Lautner, if you watch that scene again, you can't defend him. It was like, that scene is bad because his acting is terrible.
But that's what I'm saying.
They're super
both
awkward.
Of their acting in that scene is terrible because they're like, ha ha, this guy looks like so-and-so and yep, Justin Bieber. It's like, Jesus Christ, am I watching a high school play right here?
Exactly.
Come on. And I like when they get to the picture where they're like, hey, this guy looks like a cross between Taylor Lautner and Taylor Lautner. Like, wait a minute, I'm sitting next to you. And he's like, wait a minute, that does look like me. And he starts researching this.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait a minute.
This kid is wearing a shirt I remember that I got in the garage.
Yeah, that and he starts looking like maybe these aren't my real parents, and he goes into the living room. He starts looking at pictures, and it's like, and then it just dawns on him like, wait a minute, my parents are white and I'm Mexican. What? Hold on, these are not my parents. Turns out this information is going back to some Eastern European organization. It becomes very obvious they want to see Nathan dead to the point that they make their way to America, come into the house. Well, actually, they're in Jersey when they see this, but anyway, they make their way to the house. They bust in, they murder Nathan's parents, and that's where we realize there's something else going on here because before Nathan's parents are killed, they're kicking the shit out of these assassins.
Yeah. Maria Bello, who just seemed like a regular housewife, when trouble starts, she gets a scene. A poorly edited stunt woman comes in and beats the shit out of these guys, these assassins. Before she's taken out his dad. His dad's like, get out of here. Run, Nathan. Run. I said run.
Yeah. I said, get your no acting ass. Now, he's on the run. He's finally realized, wait a minute, my parents were kicking ass right before me before they died. They're not my parents. I'm kicking ass too. And I was getting the shit beat out of me for what I thought was no reason every day. I'm part of some bigger conspiracy. Maybe CIA, maybe something else. I don't know, but I better run for my life. Even his therapist somehow is involved, played by Sigourney Weaver. He's been going and talking to her. Turns out she's been watching him.
Yeah, she shows up at the hospital. She's like, okay, come with me if you want to live. I got to get you out.
Pretty much doing a Terminator thing. Yeah.
Who are you, really?
I'm one of your keepers, Nathan. I'm put in place to look after you. It's the arrangement I made with your father in case something like this ever happened.
This is crazy. Call the police or something.
I already tried.
She has heard too much already.
What?
Are you serious?
As soon as you can, dump those clothes.
Don't lose that kid.
Now, in less than 20 seconds, we're going to hit a soft curve before the bridge. I'm going to slow down just enough for you to jump out.
Jump?
It's 30 feet down to the river.
Dr. Bennett, this is insane.
15 seconds. And remember, from now on, do not trust anybody.
I need answers.
You've been looking for answers your whole life. You just didn't know what questions to ask.
Then the CIA, the head of a branch of the CIA who's headed by Alfred Molina, is coming after him too. So he's part of something bigger that he does not know about as of yet. And he's trying to piece this all together while he's trying to run and save the life of not only himself, but well, this girl that he needs to have sex with at some point, so he better save her ass.
Yeah, no, you got to save the pussy.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that should have been the slogan of this movie. Got to save the pussy. But now the problem with this movie for me is not Taylor Lautner, because like I said, everybody in this movie is made to look so bad. Sigourney Weaver is given lines like, "I hate balloons." And then in a badly edited scene, releases balloons in front of a camera, a security camera in a hospital, which doesn't make sense because how many cameras in this hospital?
Yeah, I mean, and plus they're using the cameras on those parabolic mirrors, so they can see everywhere. It kind of doesn't make sense, but it's also bummed me out because you're looking at it, you go like, man, you don't like to think about it, but Sigourney Weaver is old. She looks like she's about 60 in this movie, and yet she's supposed to be a spy, and it's just kind of like, this is just kind of falling apart.
Well, this is the year of the old spies. I mean, Helen Mirren has played in a couple of movies.
No, I get that.
What'd you say? She ain't no Helen Mirren, no?
Yeah. It's just not coming across. But yeah, before we get to even Taylor Lautner's acting, there's the horrible dialogue. But even before that, the plot itself. When they get to the nitty gritty of why he's being hunted, I'm like, that is really convoluted. It's like for this Eastern European villain who wants to get him just so he can blackmail his dad to give him something else. I'm like, and they set up a website for whenever he logs on into it looking for himself, that's when they would find him. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It just doesn't hold water. And there's even a part early on where the assassins kill his parents and he's fighting the guy. And he's like, well, before you kill me, you need to know I put a bomb in the oven. And it's set for 6 seconds. So it completely blows up, but it's like, why would he have done something like that?
First of all, that's what I'm talking about. There's so many lines of bad dialogue in this movie, laughable dialogue. Yeah, they have that scene where Taylor Lautner is trying to question the guy, and he looks up, and the way he says it, I know you said it already, but the way he says, he's like, I will tell you everything, but I'm not going to die here. There's a bomb in the oven. And Taylor Lautner runs to the kitchen to actually look in the oven. Yeah. And I'm like thinking like, why did you put the bomb in the oven? Were you trying to cook that shit? I mean, the only thing that came to my mind when he said that is like, one of these guys has been watching too much Cooking Channel. Yes. And before he actually put the bomb in the oven, he had on an apron. He had on like some mitts. He was pouring gravy on the bomb and everything. I could see Taylor Lautner run into the oven. He's like, no, don't go there. It's not done yet.
It's one of those bombs that's activated by turning your oven to 350. And once it heats up to that, that's when it explodes. But it's just laughing because the assassin, he didn't even set the timer with enough time for him to get out himself. Yeah. It just didn't make it. It's like, okay, fine. We'll move on from that. I'm not going to get hung up on it. The chase just seems to kind of go nowhere. It's like, there's a lot of them running around almost sort of aimlessly. I mean, it doesn't really tell them what they need to do. And they're running around on foot. It's easy for them to get caught, which they do a few times. Alfred Molina's motivation, it's like he spells it out, but supposedly there's something more sinister to it. And that plays out in a way that's almost an afterthought. And also the special effects were really bad.
Well, there's no real special effects in here. There's just, a few explosions, some badly filmed chases, and it all adds up to feeling like a TV movie. I mean, this really is a cheap looking film.
You're right. There's not a lot of special effects, but cheap is the word, because there's one where Taylor Lautner gets his face slammed into the glass of a train on the train window. And it's so obvious that crack in the glass was drawn on there. I was like, wow, y'all couldn't even crack the glass for real?
No, I'm baffled by just how much they got wrong in the movie. Like I said, a lot of people want to center this on Taylor Lautner. It's not him. In addition to the bad dialogue, I mean, I can't keep centering on the dialogue, but they make these actors look so bad. I mean, Alfred Molina is a guy that's a respected actor. Everything we see him in, he's good. Even when he's in things that aren't that good, he raises it above the bar a little bit. The editing is so bad. The dialogue is so bad that they make these actors look terrible. There's a scene where there's a badly edited scene. It ends badly because it's cut in a way that's it ends on a line that's terrible. Alfred Molina is talking to Taylor Lautner. He puts down the phone and he's like, kids. And he has no emotion when he says it. It's almost like they took the worst take that they had, or they could only take the first one. And right when he says that line that was meant to be humorous, but has no humor to it, it cuts immediately. And you start to notice that all these cuts, they must have had a really terrible second unit director on this, because there's scenes of dialogue. I remember there was one between Lily Collins and Taylor Lautner where they're in the woods talking next to a creek.
Yeah.
And they're going back and forth between them. The camera's on her when she talks, the camera's on him when she talks. There's one part where it's an over-the-shoulder shot. Next shot, it looks like there's a midget holding the camera where they're underneath her. Uh-huh. Next shot is like it's a far-away shot. And it's like, man, this was a movie where they probably want to hurry up and get this thing out, because they wanted to cash in on Taylor Lautner's whatever fame and momentum he has going on with Twilight. They want to get that in. This movie was in a bidding war from Lionsgate. I don't know what.
Really?
This script was in a bidding war. And I'm looking like, for $1 million, this is what you were bidding on. This is what you wanted.
Holy
This
cow.
terrible shit right here is what you wanted. This is what you were bidding for. The production company, Taylor Made Productions, I'm sure they want to get this out so that they could like make Taylor Lautner more of a star before the next Twilight movie hit, or I guess with whatever anticipation that was leading into it.
Yeah.
They definitely don't want to do it afterwards because, maybe he might have, fell off a little bit after that movie.
Sure.
I mean, people might be done with Taylor Lautner after the third Twilight movie. So they got to get him in when they can right now. But Taylor Lautner in the movie, I don't think this is a movie where you can base how good or how bad an actor he is. This is not the film for that, because this movie, as stated before, is a movie where nobody comes out without a scar or a scrape or an injury.
You're right. No one does. If you'd never seen these actors before, you would peg them all as just TV actors, nothing more. The thing is, Taylor Lautner, he's the star. It rests on his shoulders. He's really it's like, okay, look, he's not the worst actor, and he doesn't have quite this voice like he does in Twilight, but he also has zero charisma.
Yeah. Well, with this kind of movie, I don't understand. With a director like John Singleton, now, I think that this was like a quick paycheck for him.
Yeah.
Because there doesn't seem to be any real inspiration behind
None
trying to
whatsoever.
make this movie. People, really? If you've seen an episode of CSI, that episode probably has better special effects, better chase scenes, even a better story than this film. Yes, this movie is below an episode of a TV crime show.
Absolutely.
When you talk about lifeless, the way this movie wraps up with its twist, its story, it feels like they really they just wanted to end it. And it goes on long enough to where they should have ended it way before it ended.
Yeah. How this didn't end at an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 at the very least baffles me, because it pretty much is sort of over. There's a point when it's over. It's done. Everything's wrapped up. And yet, the goodbyes between Taylor Lautner and Sigourney Weaver, I thought lasted another 20 minutes. It was just like, all right, say goodbye, move on. But they're just kind of there. They're just lingering, just saying little things back and forth. I was sort of at a low rental, but y'all have really pushed this to some old bullshit for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and Taylor Lautner, he is a physical actor. There's a point early on he flips off of a car. Off of a moving car, dives out of one, and then does some karate kicks. I'm like, well, look, the kid's got the physicality. I mean, I guess he had that back when he was Shark Boy. But at the same time, it's like, if he was really valued as a star, there's no way they would let him do some of those stunts.
I do feel like people are being too hard on this kid because he's an easy target.
Yeah.
And it's not him that's bringing this movie down. I agree with you when you say that Taylor Lautner has, as you say, the action chops. He's got a good physical build, and even with that old scrunchy ass face, he's still a handsome guy. But the fight scenes in this, even though they're not exceptional, they're still choreographed pretty well. I mean, that's probably the only good thing that I can say about this movie. It's almost like John Singleton, that's the part of this film that interested him when it comes to directing the movie. It's almost like he looked at the script and said, well, the rest of this story is bullshit anyway, so I'm just going to concentrate on the action. This is a lazy production.
Absolutely.
This is a movie that felt like a tax write-off.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because like I said, I think it's because it was just rushed. But, Taylor Lautner, boy, you better talk to your daddy and tell him hey man, what are you doing? Because if this is the movie that's trying to make you a star, trying to put you out there as some sort of action hero, this ain't it. And I'm sorry, I can only defend you so much before people. I'm trying, man, but you ain't giving me much to work with here. You gotta do better than this. This is not the kind of film that stars make their notoriety on. And he's got too much. He's got too many people wanting to hate him already to be fucking up like this. So yeah, I was going to give this movie a bottom of the barrel rental, but Taylor Lautner aside, when I start thinking of all the shitty camera work,
when you lay it all out,
all the bad editing, all the bad dialogue, the way that movie ended so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell am I thinking, man? And look, I didn't even walk out hating the movie. I could care less about this film, but all of the technical aspect of this movie is so bad that this makes it a bullshit. You know what? Look, let me tell you something. If y'all don't care, I don't give a shit either.
Right.
Why should I go the extra effort to care about this movie if y'all don't? You got the director sleeping behind the camera. You got midgets working cameras and all kind of stuff. I don't give a fuck.
Don't put midgets down. It might not have been them. Maybe some Down syndrome kids.
Hey, don't blame me. I was an Ewok.
Although, maybe in Taylor Lautner's defense, he might be like, look, I couldn't go against my dad. I mean, the way my dad is in the film, that's based on real life.
Look, I know the movie shit too, but what can I do?
I know his dad is like, he's telling that, Dad, I really don't know about
Sorry. Father knows best.
I beat the shit out of him.